And we are live. Yes. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, fiends and ghouls and sworn nation. Jimmy Coffin here, and we've got superstar artist Sorah Suhng with us here for San Diego Comic-Con at-home Summit Sizzler, and we've got her panel here. She's going to be discussing the creation of Lady Death Swimsuit Edition that we have for sale right now at CoffinComicsShop.com. We still have a few left, so make sure to go check those out if you have not seen that. Sorah, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing amazing. So.
Yes.
So many questions. All right. Okay, I'm just going back to before we started. Sorah teased me a little bit. She has a story about Brian Pulido when she first met Brian Pulido. We love to hear Brian Pulido's story. So let's start with that. Let's start with that before we even get into any of this. That just sounds so fascinating. But we have so many great questions about this artwork. But
well, it has to do mostly with my anxiety. Brian is absolutely one of my absolute favorite creators, and I consider him one of my idols, as I said. And so I was very nervous about meeting him, but I was determined to go to his booth before Emerald City Comic Con. This was circa 2000 and I want to say 16 or 17. I'd have to think about it. But anyway, so this was before the show actually opened, and his, at the time I was helping J. Scott Campbell, and his booth was near Brian's booth. And so I went to Brian's booth to say hi to him and Fran, and I went in for the handshake. He went in for the hug. It was like awkward. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Of course, and then I hugged him. It was fine. But then I was like super, super awkward after that. And then I kind of was like, okay, I recovered and then walked away. I got on the phone with my colorist, actually, Kate, who colored these gorgeous covers for me. And I was on the phone with her at the time, and she goes, anytime that you talk to somebody in the industry, just ask them what they're working on. It's fine, because they'll talk about themselves all day long. I was like, that's a brilliant strategy. So that's what I started doing for the whole weekend, again, because of my anxiety, until I got into the elevator a couple of days into the show, and I'm going downstairs, and Brian gets into the elevator with me. So my brain goes, ask him what he's working on. I'm like, shit, I know exactly what he's working on. Because he's Coffin Comics and Lady Death. So he's very patient with me as I stammered along and said hello awkwardly. So the fact that he actually asked me to work for him later was super great, and I was like, yay, I didn't make too much of a fool of myself. Excited. So yeah, that's
awesome. Here, let's take a look at these comics here. So speaking of comics, boom. This is the Lady Death. Come on, buddy. The Sorah Suhng Nice Edition. And what can you tell us about that? So working with Brian, does Brian just give you like an outline? It's like, hey, I need something that's kind of,
Well, there's certain parameters that he gives. The general theme. So in this case, it was swimsuit, bikini, whatever. And then he said it had to be at night, essentially, and I think that was kind of about it for this set. And so when I usually give him the figure layouts with a vague idea of what I want to do with the background, and I'll indicate it through text, like, okay, I'm thinking like her leaning on a palm tree, and then in the second version I'll do this or whatever. I won't lay out both of them because that'd just be too much effort if he rejects it. So anyway, so he'll give the green light or whatever, and then I'll go for it. And I think was this the first, Brett? Was this the first or the second cover that Kate colored for us? I don't remember, for Lady Death. I think it's the second one. Yeah. So we were still nailing down her skin tones and everything, but because Brian is particular about her skin tones. And anyway,
I know for sure it's like she's not blue. I know some colors trying to do blue. She's like white.
Yeah, white. It has to be white. And I have learned that because I don't color Lady Death, obviously. I'm just I'm the line artist, and I learned that there's not a lot of bounce lighting. It's like, there's not a lot of reflective lighting on her. So anyhow, I had this idea, even though this is the nice version, I know she's like basically naked, but I thought, I was like, oh, it'd be really cool if I did like this, how I lived in Hawaii for a short period of time. And so I remember, you know, they had these lays and stuff that used to cover the women in like a lot of the spreads and magazines and things. And I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool. I don't think I've seen that on her before. So he went for it, and that was a lot of fun to do. But yeah, drawing a lot of plumeria was interesting. Also, then to find, like, when I was working with Kate on the colors, like to find like the gothy color scheme to make it work. That was interesting, because normally they're bright and vibrant and, like, you know, pinks and yellows, and it's like, this is Lady Death. We gotta go goth. Like, it's gotta be dark blue and purples and blacks.
Gothic summer.
Yes, exactly.
So that is fascinating that you said this is based off. To me, it feels like it's based off of a real place, and having you say it's like Hawaii, because I don't know, something about this is like, this image is so calming, and everything about it just feels like a real place. So that's really neat that it's kind of based off of the time in Hawaii. So
yeah, it was fun.
And so you have the naughty and the nice version, and I love that they feel like two different pieces, completely separate pieces. How it's, you know, sometimes it's just kind of like, you know, a little change here and there, but it's just like.
Yeah, this was only my second quote unquote patch that I've done for Brian. The first one, like I said, you know, before we went live, was for the Venetian Carnival that I did. That was a jewel edition, and when he told me to do the patch, he's like, well, we need some differentiation. So at the time, with the piece that I'd worked on, I had changed like what you could see in the window of that piece, and then her outfit. And so I wanted to do something totally wild, different with this. And he was like, go for it. And I was like, okay. Cause I was like, I can use this pose. And instead of it being a palm tree, I can make it like the spinal cord of like a dragon, you know, a dragon skeleton, and, you know, put her in this hellish scene. And then, yeah, there you go.
So how did you come up with that? I didn't catch that at first. It's just like, oh, she's laying on some bones. And then when you really look at it, it's like, oh, wow. It feels like there's a story behind this. Is there like a story in your mind when you're drawing this, or you just came up with the idea?
It's mostly forms and shapes for me, in the sense of, like, you know, this was the secondary idea. So the first idea came to me was having her lean on the palm tree, because that's the more on the nose beach, you know, swimsuit, whatever that he, you know, premise that he gave us. And so when I did, so when I did the alternative, I said, okay, well, what could she be laying on that could have that kind of length and depth to it? And, you know, I was like, well, I've never actually gotten to draw her in, you know, in like the hellscape kind of a look to it. And I've seen, like, you know, my buddy Jesse Witchman do it all the time. And I'm like, well, I want to do one too. So I was like, lava everywhere. And yeah, I thought that, you know, instead of like the open ocean, it'd be like a sea of lava. I thought that would be pretty cool. And then I was like, oh, I'll put like a lava waterfall in the background. Like, it literally just kind of adds as you keep going. And like, what else could I do this, you know, to make it like cool and give depth to it? And like, Kate did a great job in translating that lava, you know, making my lines look like it's actually glowing. So, which was awesome. Oh
yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful piece. Yeah, these both are so beautiful. And folks out there, if you haven't picked them up, they're each limited to $250, and you can only get 3 per household. So luckily, we still have some left. So if you haven't picked it up, we've got them available at coffincomicsshop.com, and also, which is cool, the metal card, which is always fun. The metal trading cards. A lot of folks really love to collect those. But yeah, so it's removed everything, all the colors, and just put that. Let's see the metal come through.
That's the first time I'm seeing it.
Oh, yeah, they're awesome. Yeah, real metal trading cards. All right, so I was looking at, I guess, all right, let's see, I don't have a picture of it, but for me, no, we do. So the first image that really caught my attention for you is the Lady Death Apocalyptic Abyss holofoil. And this is when I was in the warehouse.
Yeah.
Working, and like this image just like, wow, really got my attention when that came through, and just keep seeing the books. I was like, holy cow, love this image. And I was, who is this? Sorah Suhng? Wow. So for me, looking at your art, what comes to mind is like the words royal and like relaxing. No, not relaxing, elegant. Royal and elegant. Like all your art kind of feels like that. So what is who is your main influence? Like, how do you Uh,
Oh.
Tell us about your drawing, I should say.
Okay. I mean, when I first got into comics, I mean, I was a kid when I got into comics, but when I first wanted to actually draw comics, it was I was playing a video game at the time that was superhero based, and the company Top Cow was publishing a comic book based on it called City Heroes and City of Villains. And I stumbled across, because I had to go to their website to get the book, I stumbled across Michael Turner and Mark Silvestri's artwork, which I fell in love with. And I was like, oh my God, I want to draw like them. I mean, that was like pie in the sky. Not that I think that I draw like them by any means, but like that was like, the holy grail kind of concept. And so, early on, I would definitely say that they were, those two artists were influences on me, and to the point that I would draw too strong of jawlines, as my manager Brett likes to yell at me over. Soften the jawlines. Anyways, and I mean, there's a lot of amazing artists out there that I've picked up, little tricks from, Bernard Chang, Sean Chen, Ron Lim. Ron Lim's facial expressions, man, they're so much fun. They're so animated. But I actually like to pull a lot of my influence. You talk about that elegance and whatever. It's like that's very appreciated, because that's kind of what I try to go for. And a lot of that comes from dancing and dancers. Not that I was ever a dancer. I just like things like ballet and dancing and figure skating. And I've always found a lot of their movements and posing to be very elegant. And so, there's a strength and yet softness to what they do and how they pose when they strike their positions. And so I would say a lot of that figure work comes from that realm, because again, dancers are some of the strongest people. It's like, God, you look at ballet dancers and they're just like, especially the dudes, they're just like super, super strong. And, but yeah, like I said, there is a lot of natural human form elegance to what they do. So I try to translate that to what I do. So.
Wow, it's very informative. Yeah, I could see that now with in your artwork. So you've also done, not only have you done Lady Death covers, you've done Hell Witch. We've got one here, the Coven print. Some more Lady Death, and also La Morta. I forgot about that as well. What's your favorite character, that Coffin character you like to draw so far?
Lady
and
Death.
Why? Lady Death. Yeah.
Lady Death. She's just so. I really love her sensuality, her power, and that there's like what's the word I'm looking for? And the fact that Brian just lets us have fun with her and lets us express, project and express how we, within limits, but how we kind of, view her and see her. And so, there's always a bit of a challenge in Lady Death's attitude, and I love her attitude. And so I think that, God, most artists that work on Lady Death, obviously they capture it really, really well. There's that. It's like she looks at you as in a way of challenge, and I enjoy that kind of feminine power. So, so Lady Death is definitely my favorite on that front.
So, how did you first hear about Lady Death? What's your?
Oh, I was growing up. Yeah, I grew up in South Korea, so I didn't have comic shops or anything. Yeah, and so but. I was of the age that the internet became a thing. And so you would come across, anytime you'd Google comics or anything like that, like, Lady Death would always pop up because she was is so insanely popular. And I didn't actually read anything of hers until later, but hers, like as if they're like she's writing them. But I didn't actually read anything from Chaos until much later. Which I think is fair because I was a kid, so it's like I probably was reading them anyway. And I was definitely an adult by the time that I was actually reading stuff of Lady Death. But Yeah, so it was, for me, it was literally just, it was sheer exposure. I didn't come to the States until I was 15, and I didn't start getting back into comics. I took a, I read comics when I was much younger, and then there was like a 3-4 year period in high school where I didn't really read them because I didn't have access. And then I got to college and I started to read comics again. And yeah, so it was just literally, okay, I've seen this character so many times. Who the hell is she? And we went from there. So
that's awesome. So when you're drawing, so like a piece like this with, so do you draw it in like sections, or do you just draw it in like an angle going down? What's your process for drawing process?
Well, I tend to start with I'll start with the figure. I literally start with the face always in first foremost, but everything is laid out. But I have a pretty, I think Dawn actually has the same process because she and I have talked about it. But like, we work on a really small scale initially when we're doing the layouts. And then I will noodle that, I'll scan it in and then see it on the screen, noodle it some more, and then, send that off, get whatever approved. And then from there, I'll actually blow it up because I already conceptually know what I want to do with it. So then I'll blow it up to 11 by 17. So all I have is like the framework of everything. I literally will do like a scribble and be like flower, like I'm indicating that will be a flower at some point, but it like literally just looks like a, like whatever. And then I'll draw a circle and be like skull, like that's where a skull goes. And so I literally have just like the framework of stuff, and then I just start to add it in. And I start with the figure first, and whatever that she is, or whatever the figure is, but whatever she is touching or laying on or a part of, I have to build that in because I have to make sure that, the physics and the gravity work. Because sometimes you'll find art where, people add something as an afterthought. Like you can tell, like originally that character was not holding a gun and they just put a gun in there afterwards. And kind of like, they're like this, but it's, it's like, so everything for me is really, I know what I'm going for, even though all I have are a few stroke lines. I know what I'm going for from the beginning. So, but yeah, background is always the last thing I do. But to be fair, I jump around a lot too. Just sometimes I get sick of drawing hair, which sounds, blasphemous, but I do sometimes get sick of drawing hair because, especially if I'm inking it. Inking, I feel like I bounce around a lot more because when I ink stuff, it's like I have to draw each, like, that Lady Death has a lot of hair. And the way I've been rendering hair lately, that's a lot of inking for me. Just swoop, gets a little dull after a while. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to switch over to the whatever the heck she's sitting on or something. But yeah, so figure first, and then I build out from there, essentially.
That's right. I think that's really cool. Like the little shorthand of like, okay, this is going to be a skull. So it's kind of like, it's kind of mark it there. So how do you rest after working all day long? What do you do to like relax your hands to keep them?
I don't. I play phone games. I don't relax my hands at all. I'll like lay in bed playing phone games, which is horrible.
So you really just relax your mind. You're not so much.
Yeah, I mean, my very first mentor that I had, my very first teacher and mentor that I had in comics, the artist and inker Bob Layton, he described to me when I was working for him back when I was like 20. He said, all artists have like this circus in their heads, and it's really hard to shut it off when you're trying to go to sleep. And that's proven over the years. It's proven very true for me. So I have to have the TV on in the background, low volume, something I've already watched before that my brain can it's like turns into white noise. I got to be reading something on my phone. I have to be it's such a, because otherwise my brain will just keep going. And sometimes that happens where it's like, I can't go to sleep and I'll just get up and start working. Cause I'm just like, well, okay, like this is a lost cause. Fortunately, I tend to, especially with Brett as my manager, he schedules my workout pretty good, like day to day, like what I'm supposed to be working on. And he knows how long something's supposed to take me. So I don't get too many like hand cramps or anything like that. Like it's usually pretty fine. Thank God I can say that. I know that that's a point of privilege because I know a lot of artists who they have some serious hand pain. So yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Very lucky. That's fascinating that if your mind can't stop, because to me that I would imagine that would mean like the art would be like kind of more wild, but it seems like you have this controlled chaos of you're able to control those
controlled chaos.
So what does for a superstar artist like yourself, what does your day look like?
Oh God.
I
can tell you what it's supposed to look like versus what it actually looks like. What I'm supposed to do is wake up at a early enough hour that I can get 30 minutes to an hour of a workout, and then breakfast, and then work. And then that doesn't happen usually because, again, sleep is a question mark for me. So I will roll out of bed at like 8:39, breakfast. If the weather is okay, I'll go for a walk. But it's summer, so that's a crapshoot, and it's hot and gross here. And then I say to a guy in Arizona, where I'm sure I've been to Arizona this summer. It's like walking into an oven. It's so hot.
Oh yeah, you can still go outside. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Bless you for like enduring that, because I could not. I'm a walrus. I just don't do heat. Yeah, I'll eat breakfast. I usually don't eat lunch because I get food coma. But I just work. I literally, depending on what I have scheduled that day, but mostly it's drawing and social, posting social media, but it's a lot of times it's drawing. And so I just sit down and I draw. And then about, 6, 7 o'clock, I'll eat something. And then I start drawing again after that. So, I don't have much of a life, especially with, the plague that like curtailed any socializing I had. So all I do is work. It's a lot done. Working. So, I mean, I can't complain. Like, this is what I would be doing normally, except maybe once in a while I'd be going out with like some friends. But like, other than that, it's like, I love to work. I love what I'm doing. I love all the projects that I'm working on. So it's fun. It's fabulous.
Yeah, it definitely shows that you love what you do. Hey, folks out there watching, if you want to post a question in the comments for Sorah, answer them. So I think I saw a picture online that you have a dog or dogs. Do you have tell us about your little critters?
Hold on. Come on, come on. He was just outside, so he's a little wet.
Oh, what a cutie.
He does not care about the computer screen at all. He's just like totally does not give a shit. There you go, Peeps. Yeah, he's the con dog. He goes to conventions with us.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What a lucky dog.
Oh, we got some questions though.
Oh yeah, let's see what we got here. Here's one from Ken. Have you been to Coffin HQ?
No, I have not. I have not.
Gotta make sure you get here when the world opens back up. We'll make sure to get you out.
Oh no, that'd be super fun. I would love to.
Here's one from Bob. Do you listen to music when you draw?
Yes, music is actually a huge it's a huge thing for me when I draw. I have different mood playlists, so depending on what I'm drawing will dictate what I'm listening to. And so it's like with Lady Death, it's a lot of rock, it's a lot of sexy music. It's a lot of badass women. I say sexy music, I mean like sexy music, like legitimately.
On your saxophone?
No, yes, sexy music. There you go. But yeah, it gets me into that mindset and into that mood. It really affects me. Music affects me greatly, and so I know some people listen to just kind of like the equivalency of like, God, what would I call that? It's almost like EDM, like rock EDM, like the stuff like Mike and stuff like Kate listened to. But it's like rock and roll, but it's like EDM version of it. And, that kind of gets them into this like technical groove. But for me, it's much more like I don't want to turn my brain off in that sense. I want to absorb. I don't want the music to be white noise. I want to absorb what it's pumping out so I can like channel that as much as I can. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. All right. Like a lightning rod of the emotions from the music.
Yeah.
Here's a question from December. What Top Cow books influenced you?
Well, I mean, Witchblade, obviously. I read Tomb Raider when they were doing Tomb Raider, but I'll be honest with you, I don't remember too much of that. But Witchblade for sure. God, I'm trying to think of. It has been so long. I'm bad. I'm a horrible fan.
That's okay. You got Witchblade.
A lot of Witchblade. With No Limits. Hold on.
Well, here's Dave Balance talking about. I guess he was talking about how we describe you, high fashion couture. That's
yes.
Cool.
I'm a fashion.
Love it.
I am a fashion fiend, so I love anything, and that's another reason I love drawing Lady Death is because I get to just go complete, ham on the fashion with it, and just like yes, and I do. It's like costume fashion. It's super fun, and you get to do all those crazy details that I really love. So
this question ties in with that. How do you decide on costume designs? I should ask you that one. That's a good question.
I guess it depends tonally on what the piece is calling for. But generally speaking, it's like, Lady Death has certain themes. So as long as I keep to her themes, I can kind of have fun with that. But it's interesting because her themes they're pretty wide, her natural themes, because in terms of style. So you have like the spikes and the lace and the leather and the vinyl and the studded stuff and the chains, and it's like, but then at the same time she has like the softer things like pearl. So you can't always mix all of that together because it'll be clashy and look ridiculous. So you have to kind of like, you have like this array that you have to end up picking, like, okay, pearls and lace will look good together, throw in some vinyl with that, but like pearls, lace, spikes and vinyl would just be like too much. So you have to like pick different selections. You can combo those selections, but there's only like 3 that you can really do at one time.
Got to keep it tasteful.
Yeah.
Hey, so Miguel here is bringing it all back around to that beginning. What other projects are you currently working on?
Well, I'm working on more stuff with Coffin to be announced. Although Brian totally let it slip that I was doing this.
Yeah, that's right.
The homage cover for Hell Witch.
So this is the one you're going to be homaging right here.
Yeah, it's just super, which is like a super honor for me. I love Richard Ortiz. He's done a lot of work with me, and he's an absolute sweetheart. And so when Brian asked me to, I was like, oh my God, yes. And
it's going to be Hell Witch, right?
Yeah,
doing Hell Witch as homage. Yeah. Oh, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, and that's like one of my favorite and one of Brett's favorite Richard Ortiz covers he's ever done, period. So I was super stoked to get to do that. And Ceci has thrown some absolutely beautiful colors on it. And it's already finished. I've already seen it. Sorry, guys.
Oh man. No fair.
Other projects. What? I don't know. I mean, I have my own stuff, but you guys can go to my website for that. We're with Coffin right now. I don't need to be plugging my own things.
Yeah. What is your website? Where should we send folks to go follow you?
Well, if you go to sorahsuhng.com, that's one. And then the other is carnal with a K, confessions.com. And that's my other project that I'm working on.
So speaking of online, have you joined the Sworn Nation Facebook page?
Yes. Yes.
You're on it. Awesome.
Yeah. I've posted it. I recently posted about does anybody know if there's any like doggy apparel of like Coffin stuff? Because I really want like a bandana or something to put on.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. All right. Noted. We'll bring that up. Bandana would be good. Especially nowadays, too. A bandana would work for multiple things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
From Dave Balance, the pressure is on to draw that butt.
Yeah, I know. That's like Ortiz is one of the best butt artists. such a weird feather in his cap, but he like draws the best butts.
Let's see. While we wait for a couple questions here, I think I know the answer. But if you had to choose, which Coffin character are you? Do you most relate to Hell Witch, La Muerta, or Lady Death? I think we know the answer.
That's actually a complicated question. I mean, I think I naturally want to say Lady Death, but I could argue that it could be a little on the La Muerta side. But I'll say Lady Death. I'll say Lady Death. That's
good
my
answer. Good answer.
Status quo answer.
When in doubt, Lady Death.
When in doubt.
So yeah, folks want to know, what are you drinking? What's in that that's lemonade, right? You got
Yes, pink lemonade, which I'm running out of.
no. That's good. So what do you do for fun? We went through your day, and it's you're jam-packed, working nonstop. So what do you do? So you mentioned you play video games on your phone.
I mean, I have a console, and I have games that I play on my computer, but I don't get. I mean, I definitely would qualify myself that I grew up as a gamer. Again, I grew up in South Korea, and we had things that were called PC bangs, which is like a giant PC gaming room, and that was like. That's what you did. You went and you pay your $10 to pull an all-nighter, and then you're there for 12 hours playing StarCraft, Warcraft, whatever. And so I grew up doing that. So I grew up playing a lot of games, and I was in a lot of tournaments for like Quake and Unreal, things of that ilk. And then I got into high school, and I didn't have, like, my parents were super protective, and so they basically cut the internet off for me. Like, hard. I mean, literally, I could not look up the word relationship into the search bar. It would be like, no, cock blocks, just like no. So I was super protected in high school. So I couldn't game. I couldn't really do anything. And I tap back into like my old games just to like for nostalgia, or like I got the Final Fantasy remake and I plowed through that because total nostalgia. And it was super fun. I loved it a lot. Can't wait for the next installments. Plug for Squaresoft, I guess. But mostly it is, I mean, for this sounds horrible. I don't really relax too much. It sounds so horrible. I love what I do. So I guess, that's what I do.
Yeah.
So it's like I will draw for pleasure when I want to relax. How about that? So I will draw stuff that I really want to draw that's not like there's no necessary point to it or there's no deadline for it. It's just I'll take a day and be like, I feel like drawing this, so I will draw that. So that's
awesome.
What I do to relax.
Not really a question, but gamer girls are awesome. Gamer artist girls are unicorns.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I think a lot of women in comics now. I think we all grew up gaming. I would think so. I don't think we're.
I don't know. Did you tell me when? I think I forgot to ask. When you started drawing, like how young were you? Did you always just start drawing as a kid, or was it when they took away the internet? Is that when you?
When I started drawing, just made my own porn. No, so like my mother is an artist. And, sorry, go get him.
Sure. More screen time.
Yeah. So my mother's an artist, and so I got the art bug from her. I've been drawing since I was a little kid. I mean, I was garbage at it. Although the first time I legitimately tried to draw something, I was 6 or 7 years old, and the challenge was to draw something right in front of you. And I had a Cheerios box in front of me, so I drew like the little bumble or the little bee from Honey Nut Cheerios, and it was pretty good, I thought, for 6, 7 years old. Anyways, so the cheap answer is that I've been drawing my whole life. But I never want to actually I hilariously never wanted to turn art into a career. I was like, it's a hobby, it's what I do to relax. I don't want to do that. But then when I was in college, people started basically asking me to draw stuff for them, and they started giving me money for it. And I was like, that's pretty cool. And so I was 20 when I had the opportunity to actually, turn it into something legitimate. And that's when I got my first mentor. And so I've been doing it since then. I won't age myself, so I won't say how long ago that was.
No, I saw here's another question from Kat here. You ever a story to go along with while you're drawing?
Yeah, and they're all dirty. I'm not kidding. That sounds so trite, but I'm just being honest with you.
All right, so what's the story behind one of these?
No, you're not supposed to ask me.
You brought it. I don't know. Okay, sorry. We won't ask you about that. I guess we can imagine what that story is. Okay.
Yes, use your imagination, you guys. Use your imagination.
All right. Very good. Okay, once again, folks, we have the Sorah Suhng Swimsuit Editions on sale right now for the Coffin Comics, San Diego at home Comic-Con, and we still got some of the nice and the naughty editions left at coffincomicsshop.com. Make sure to pick those up while you can. Oh yeah, we also have some prints of the get this website out as well. We've got we call it the lay print on that. Yeah, beautiful stuff. Love. Yeah, once again. So you mentioned Hawaii. I guess maybe that's why I love that so much. It just feels like you captured that Gothic summer right there.
It's so funny. I'm not a beach person at all. Again, I'm a walrus. So like living in Hawaii, I'm sure everyone's like, wow, living in paradise. And for me, I was like, this is hell. It's so awful. I'm like Anakin. I'm like, I hate sand. Like it's just not me. Hence me living in the mountains now. But I mean, I enjoy the aesthetic. I think it's very, very beautiful, and I understand why people love it so much. And so I mean, I've been to the beach, in Hawaii at night, and it's if anyone has never been to Hawaii, I do recommend to visit. It's an absolutely beautiful state. Obviously, with the plague, none of us can really visit right now. But when things get better, go for it. But in
the meantime, pick up the
nice
edition right there.
Yes, and live vicariously through my experiences. There you go. Yeah, it's a lot of fun though. It's super good. The food's really great. I love it. And so when when Brian was like, "Can you do something, swimsuit?" I was like, "Well, let me do something that is." I had to be a little careful about not doing like too much. What is it, like the cultural appropriation or whatever? Because I could have gone like really ham with it and like put her in like a skirt and whatever. But I was like, no. Let's just do the lay. Like that's universal. Like they put that on everybody and. Plus, like I said, it gave me an excuse to draw her practically naked. So, like, what are you going to do without showing anything?
That was a good choice. Good choice. Thank you for picking that. So we got a couple comments. Oh yeah, Sorah kicks ass.
Thank you.
Let's see. Yeah, they like the black leg. Pretty cool. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, let me jump over here. Let's get back to this. Boom. So. We're near the end here of this. If folks, if you have anything else you want to ask superstar artist Sorah Suhng, now is the time. What do you feel? What attracted you to Coffin Comics? What it seems like you're kindred spirits to the Coffin attitude and everything. So what? Well,
I did grow up as a little goth girl, so there's that. So the whole. The very metal rock and roll kind of rebel aspect of the, just the pure aesthetic and story content is something that appeals to me and appealed to me, when I was younger. And then, just in general, like there is, Brian has this like crazy, awesome independent streak where it's like, when you start out working in comics, there was always, especially for when I first started, about like this ultimate goal of working for the big two, and you couldn't do anything. You weren't anybody until you did that. And like Brian was just like, yeah, no, like, I'm going to do my thing. You guys can enjoy. And he has, obviously, look at this little empire that he has built. It's amazing. And I love that kind of rebel aspect to it, going like, I'm not going to listen to, I'm not going to necessarily listen to this. I'm going to do things my way and just watch me kind of attitude. And I feel that that's really encapsulated in a lot of the characters that he creates, where it is just, my writer friend Wes Knight always talks about, I can't remember the prime minister's name because he's Canadian, but there was a prime minister in Canada back in the day, and he was going to do some policy, and the reporters was like, well, you can't do that. And the prime minister looks dead in the camera and goes, watch me. And I really feel that kind of attitude, that kind of punk, rock, metal, like just like I'm not gonna listen to you. Like I'm just gonna do my thing. I love that kind of energy and I love that kind of power. And so yeah, that's like basically in my head, that's Coffin. Like just like it's like Brian going, watch me. And I love that. So
yeah, you are the perfect fit for Coffin as a superstar artist. A great question from Dave. With your art, is there a specific area that you'd like to improve on?
my boob physics. I'm getting better, but it's still not. I still aspire to. Me and Mike DeBalpa have talked about this. Elias, and I'm saying Elias's last name wrong. He told me in a text how to say it right, and I'm so sorry, but I think it's House. The C is silent. I know that, so it's House or something. So Elias, who's also an amazing, Coffin artist, he has the best understanding of boobs I've ever seen in my life as an artist. I don't know anybody who like understands the physics of boobs better than that man. And so I aspire to his boob greatness. So I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to like do different angles and different like, figure perspectives and like laying down and stuff, just so I can play around and try to get that accuracy, because he really understands the physics to it. And I know that sounds really dirty, but I just mean it on a purely artistic level, is that, they look like real boobs and it's amazing to me.
And we all thank you for it. Thank you so much for putting in that extra time for the boob physics. Here's another great question. Have you seen the Lady Death animated movie? What'd you think of it?
I actually haven't seen it. I am very aware of it, but I've actually never seen it. I don't know where I can watch it. Like,
you can see it on YouTube actually, because it's like the rights kind of disappear. I think the company like bankrupt, so now it's just kind of it's out there for free on YouTube. You can watch it.
Ooh. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna write that down. Hold on, Lady Death.
Yeah, just search Lady Death the movie on
YouTube. Awesome. I had no idea. Yeah, because again, I think when that came out, I was under net nanny. I wasn't.
Oh yeah, Andre said, "Don't put yourself down. Your boobs are great. You're doing a great job drawing them." So, but you can always do it, get them better.
Thanks.
People love boob physics. That's going to be the new trending word on Twitter right now.
Boob physics, yeah.
Boob greatness. I love it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, boobs are really important to Lady Death. So it's like, I got to get good on it, man. Got to get good.
And Amazon Prime for the thanks, Antonio.
Oh, thank you.
So you can watch on Amazon Prime too. Probably a little better version on that.
We have Amazon Prime.
So here we are, last few minutes. Anything else you'd like to say to the Fiends, the Sworn Nation, to the folks at home?
The Fiends are probably my favorite fans. You guys are like absolutely crazy awesome and super supportive, and you guys have been supportive of my own personal projects, but just all my work I've done with Coffin, and I love the energy you guys have. It has made me enjoy what I do 1,000 times more, because you guys are so involved, and it's not like some faceless, massive people. It's like I get to know you guys, and it's super awesome. So thank you. You guys kick ass.
Yeah, I must agree with you that the Fiends and the Sworn are the best. So go, if you haven't joined it already, folks, go to the Sworn Nation on Facebook and join us there. Connect with all the other Fiends, and also Sorah Suhng is there as well. So this is great. Once again, this is the Creating Lady Death Swimsuit with Sorah Suhng, and this is the San Diego Comic-Con at Home editions. We've got a few of them left, so if you haven't picked them up, folks, go to coffincomicsshop.com, and we've got the nice and the naughty version as well. But hold on a second, I think we got a special guest.
Wait, what? I wasn't here.
Yeah, come on in. We've got
What's up, you psychopath? Sorah, how you doing?
I'm good.
Look at you.
I'm good.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I like the location. Oh, hey, Sorah, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. I like your set is very great.
Oh, thank you. I told Brett to put up the books. So
I love it. Hell yeah, that's fantastic. So cool. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Fiend Nation. Hey, I'm just dipping in. I really didn't want to step in on your time. You're in great hands with the one and only Jimmy Calabrese, who's a phenomenal interviewer.
Yes, he is.
Thanks to you. Did you guys wind up talking about that homage you did?
yes.
That's
Briefly.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do a nice reveal coming up soon. And wow. And you and I behind the scenes, the world doesn't know this, but even today we were discussing the latest salvo of covers, and
Yes.
we're working in like December and next spring at this point, right?
Yes. Yes.
So
yeah, we're ahead of schedule in a good way. So.
That's right. Hey, can't thank you enough. Look forward to speaking to you via email. My regards to Brett. I'm going to give you back to the very capable, one and only Jimmy Calabrese.
Thank you. Bye.
Ooh, that was a special treat to have Brian pop in there. Awesome. Thanks again, Sorah. I really appreciate it. Thanks for spending your time. Yeah. Since you are a workaholic, it is amazing that you're spending your precious time with us. So thank you. All the Fiends, thank you. Coffin Comics, thank you. And the Sworn Nation, thanks you. So we're going to sign off now. So folks, come visit us at Sworn Nation on the Facebook page, Coffin Comic Shop. Thanks again, Sorah. Really appreciate it. Superstar artist. Thanks. See ya.